Sometimes our efforts to change the things around us can be frustrating and very difficult work. And even when we give the best that we can, we look around and see the circumstances that face our lives, our families, our communities, and our hearts bleed because we really want to see change. But what we've discovered in our lives and over time is that those changes are not easy. It can indeed be the kind of cruel work that requires of us to grind and change ourselves and those around us. And sometimes those things don't work in our favor. Today, I want to talk with you about something that I think is important. I'm the Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson III, and I want to share these messages in our morning meditation that we hope will inspire you and encourage you as you try to journey through dealing with the changes that are necessary around you and to be able to know how to navigate these difficult times. Today's morning meditation is entitled A Brand New You. A Brand New You. I opened and began our conversation because in a way that says something about our attempts to try to deal with all the circumstances around us. Many of us have found ourselves trying to deal with problems that we didn't create or to try to figure out how to navigate the best way through the challenges that we may face each day or each week. Our families sometimes really need our attention, and sometimes they really need our best efforts as we go forward. But when you have given everything and tried to do all you can for so many people and so many things, I can say it's downright exhausting. It can be downright exhausting. But what I've discovered, and this is what I want to share with you in our morning meditation, is that it's important to note that in spite of the fact that we may not be able to change everything around us, let us come back in and deal with the things that we can change. And what I really want to focus on and help you focus on is being able to create a brand new you. Yep, I said it because I think this message for me reflects some of my inner thoughts. And I will always say that these messages speak to me before they probably speak to you. That in my life and in my journey, I've found that I've tried to do all I can as a parent, all I can as a son, all I can as a professional in my respective profession, as a clergy person in church or in the hospital as a chaplain. I've even tried to do that in my personal life. And in those who are in my circle, they know I will try to give all I can. But what I've discovered is that despite all we tried to do, we may not really move the needle on other people's choices and their decisions about what they think is best for them or the larger concerns of our communities that seem to be slow moving to get to solutions that seem like they should be right within our grasp, or the stubbornness of the struggle of trying to get ourselves to feel like a community together, or even in what happens in the world or in the nation. Those things seem like our voices are small and we're yelling in a vacuous valley, hoping someone would listen. In these moments, as we share together, I want to remind us that the valley doesn't have to be that big. We might not have to change the universe out there. We have to first start to change the universe in here. And the brand new you, the brand new me, the brand new us that we create gives us a new worldview, a new vision about how to live our lives with gratitude, with thanksgiving, with all the things that come with having such a life. It means that we have to be able and be willing to explore all the avenues that would make us a brand new us. I would have to explore all the avenues that would make me a brand new me. You have to explore all the avenues that would make you a brand new you. So, how do we do that? Well, I'm glad you all asked. There you go. Here's how I think that we would navigate becoming a brand new you, a brand new us. I think it requires some things. It requires, most of all, and I would dare say it, this thing that I would call imagination. In other words, we have to imagine life in a different way. We have to imagine what it would be and how life would change for us and how we would engage life in such a way. So let me take you on an exercise, if you don't mind. This comes from Mark Nepo. I really enjoyed this in my devotional reading, and I think it will be helpful if you would bear with me for a moment. Could you close your eyes and breathe slowly? Close your eyes and breathe slowly. Normal breath, but just slow it down a bit. You have a racing heart. You got lots of things to do today. You have events and challenges and deadlines to meet. But right now, take a moment to just slow down. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. Imagine that what makes it makes us who we are, wakes in us and has lived forever, and that it wakes within the soft tissue of our being. It's resilient and it is courageous. And that soft tissue will take us where we want to go. That you and I have these delicate surfaces through which we can feel the wind, the light shining. We can see in the midst of those things that are around us. And in those moments, our spirits can sense that we are now in this place where we can experience these things forever. Then imagine that once we wake up, we walk into a world where small creatures fly about us, our heads, and as they do so, they sing and buzz, that we can eat what grows from the dirt or what grows from the trees, juicy fruits and other things that come from the earth. Imagine that there's always water running nearby, or that we can wash our tiredness from our faces as often as we like. Imagine that once we are awake, we can live in a time where there are others we can talk to about the miracles that we've seen, the challenges that we've faced, the things we've experienced in life, and they are alive like we are alive, and we can talk and laugh and cry and love. Imagine that we can open our eyes and dance in a world where water can fall from the sky and sometimes turn into crystal-like things that we now call snow. That we can open our throat and sing a song and something comes out of it, no matter how it sounds. That we can find the sun if we look for it, or feel its warmth on our skin, or to enjoy the beauty of a flower. Now open your eyes and receive all of that and know it's all true. In other words, this reading and this sharing today begins with a brand new us remembering to imagine what we already have, not what we don't have. The imagination then allows us to explore the idea of the beauty of what is right before us. That each day that we wake up, whether we have all those things that we named, whether we can walk or not walk, whether we can see or not see, there are things in our lives that we do pass up because we don't take time to enjoy them. The brand new you means that you explore those things. You imagine what you could not imagine before. A miracle, walking, moving, living, laughing, loving, all that you are a miracle in and of yourself. And imagine this miracle waking every day to enjoy a new day of life and declaring, I waked up, like Kurt Byron Jones says, and I am enjoying life once again. I've awakened not only physically, but my spirit awakens each day. That is discovering a brand new you. But let me give you the second part. And I don't want to be too long here with this message, but I think it's important. Not only does it take imagination to discover a brand new you, but it takes improvisation to discover a brand new you. Well, what does it mean to improvise? To improvise means to be adept, to be able to adjust, to adapt to all the things that change in life. And I think this is one of the challenges that we face of not realizing that while circumstances are changing, so are we. And while we're changing, so are circumstances. In other words, it's okay to adapt and to be able to improvise in moments in which it requires for us to not be stuck where we were, stuck in the painful experiences of our past, stuck with words that someone said that were unkind, stuck in places where people framed what we could be and what we could not be, stuck in the idea that we cannot move beyond the limitations that others set around us, stuck in most places. It requires, if you're going to get there, improvisation. And here's what improvisation looks like. I love shows on improv. What you discover is that there is something that happens, and those who are actors on the stage or comedians or whatever they are have to react and respond like that to a moment or experience or a word or something that addresses them in a way that they have to improvise. In other words, by its very nature, whatever your plans were, you have to be able to be willing to be move beyond what you planned to create a new plan in a moment's time. That's the way life is, my friends. That's the way it is, my beloved. We find that life is not fair and it does not go according to the plans that we have, nor the ones that others promise to us. We have found ourselves waiting for people to fulfill their word and they don't. We have to improvise. We have found that life doesn't allow for us to be a superstar the way we dreamed of. We have to improvise. We found that the people who we loved may not love us back. We have to improvise. We have found that the career goals or the heights that we want to achieve may not be within our reach right now today. We have to improvise. In other words, improvisation is a gift from God to remind us that God has already gifted us in the persons that we are, the ability to adjust to the circumstances of life. You go out with an umbrella and the sun comes out. You have to improvise. You go out without an umbrella and it starts to rain. You have to improvise. Life is filled with improvisations. Those who don't know how to adapt find themselves struggling and angry and frustrated with what life presents them because they never discover that what's on the outside is really not the matter. It is how we adjust to it in here. And discovering a brand new you, or discovering a brand new me, or discovering a brand new us means that we discover the ability to improvise more fluidly. In other words, here's what I'm saying. I've said in other words 17 times here, but I want to share with you how important it is to give God grace to move in our lives in a way that does not work according to our plans or the plans that we thought would come into action. It is a beautiful thing to discover years later, now at this stage in my life, with gray hair and on my face and none on my head, that the things that I thought I needed to have, the things I thought that I could not live without, I have learned that improvisation has led me to happiness and joy and peace when I didn't think that I could have it without the things that I had before. And better yet, I never saw the things that God was bringing my way, but allowed me to improvise and make a plan. I invite you to practice that today. Allow yourself to improvise. Give some room for the grace of God to work in your life beyond your plans. Yeah. So here is the brand new you is it requires imagination. It requires, yes, improvisation. But here is what I want to share with you that I think is the most gifted part about this message. It requires inspiration. Yeah, inspiration. It is one of those things that is in our human condition that we have to and need to be inspired. Most of us forget that our plans are not worth following through with, even if it goes according exactly to the plan that we had before. And most things will not. What you'll discover is that the purpose of your being is derived from, given birth to, through inspiration. So what inspires you to get up in the morning? What inspires you to engage your family, your friends? What inspires you to do your best on your job? What inspires you to share in lifting up or encouraging other people? I always say this, it's important. People say, well, what is your why? What they're really asking is, what's your inspiration? What inspires you? And sometimes you have to dig deep because you can't get it externally, you have to find it internally. Now, let me share with you a secret about how I have found a way to find inspiration in my own life. It only takes a little bit of time for a life review to go back and start thinking about from whence I've come. I go back and I remember as far back as I can the dreams, the thoughts, the ideas I had, the troubles, the challenges, the difficulties I've experienced in life. And I see that there were moments in which I didn't imagine that I would make it through some of the trouble, and I did. And then I see that there are other moments in which whatever it is I thought I planned, they failed, but then another plan came in its place that lifted me higher, took me further, grew me stronger than I would have if I had taken the plan that I once had before me. And what I've discovered over time, now I can say it in 55 years of life, is that I am inspired by the fact that I've come this far, as the old people used to say in the old gospel song, I've come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in God's holy word. What I've learned is that the promises that I faced in my life, I have come through so many things on a daily basis. Can you count what it looks like 365 days a year times 55? And I am imagining that you can do the math in your own life. Every day I've eaten a meal. Every day I've had some shelter over my head. Every day my heart keeps on beating. Every day my lungs keep breathing until I no longer have it. And when that day comes, I don't want to begrudge it. I can look back over my life and say, I've come through some moments in which I've had to cry. I've come through some moments in which I was frustrated. I've come through some moments in which doors were closed in my face. I've come through some moments in which I've had to endure a broken heart. I've come through some moments in which I have experienced loss. But on the other side of that, I've also had some moments in which I've had some gain. I've also had some moments in which my heart was warmed. I've also had moments in which when I failed, I got up and I was stronger than I was before I had fallen. Those are the moments in which we've gained inspiration. So inspire yourself. Don't look for it on the internet. Don't look for it on Instagram. Don't look for it on Facebook. Don't even look for it with family and friends. You take a moment and walk down memory lane and think about how far you've come, and that ought to inspire you. And even if you're not at the top of your mountain right now, and even if what you remember that you were at a higher place and now you're at the on the struggle bus, don't worry about it. Every high hill and mountain has some valleys, but they always bring you back. Valleys are only valleys for a while so that you can climb the next mountain peak. Remind yourself of that. So that's our words of inspiration today. That's what I want to share with you. Discovering a brand new you. There is that brand new you in you. You know who that person is. You are there. You've been with you your entire life. You are somebody special. There's not another one made like you. On the day you were born, there was not another model like you. You're the only one that lives. And your journey, your life is special, indeed important to the universe and to you and to others around you. So here's what I want to share with you. And as I close with this little message, it is important for you to value you. Yeah, value you. And you won't necessarily need other people to validate you if you value you. I'll say that one more time for the people in the cheap seats. You all hear me out there? If you value you, you won't need others to validate you. You'll know who you are. When you walk in a room, whether they validate you or not, you know your own value. And why should you know that? Because your creator has declared that you're precious and smart and brilliant and strong, and all the things that your life is worth is more than the whole world can pay in the eyes of God. Well, that's the message for the day. I hope that you are inspired and encouraged. They're meant for that. You are important to those around you. You are loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great life. Enjoy it and enjoy the brand new you. Take care. Bye bye.